let's look at the Google index for some of our competitors. In this example, we'll look at GoDaddy. I've put in GoDaddy's URL in the search box right up here, and the only difference is I've used the site colon at the beginning of the URL, which is an indication to Google to bring back all search results associated with just that domain. And you'll see the number provided a little bit below that is 9 million results. So this is showing that GoDaddy has about 9 million pieces of content within the Google index. This can be English, Spanish, different types of languages, but the point is there's 9 million. In our example, in my research, I looked at SiteGround, for example, and they only had 10,000. So there's just a really big difference between the two websites and what they offer. So another thing that I like to look at is, in addition to how many pieces of content they have, I also look at what type of content showing up at the beginning of the results. A lot of times you'll see more active pages here or more important pages, and then Google will push the pieces of content that are less important towards the end of the list. So I always scan down the page just to see exactly what's there. The next thing I do within the browser is I like to type in just the name itself of the company and look to see what comes back. You'll get some information over on the right-hand side of social profiles, basic data that Google has collected. It won't be there for all companies, especially smaller companies, but for larger organizations, you do get a lot of great details. When you look at the content that Google is providing, you're going to see some site links right away. These are great places to find keywords, and you'll see some of the most important or the more popular pages for a website. And then you can scroll down and see some information like top stories or videos or tweets that they have. Again, this is really going to vary based on the size of the company and their activity on the internet. And then finally, what I like to look at for the index is any type of related searches that are presented. Sometimes you're not going to see anything here that's of value. It's just going to be all things associated with the name. But then sometimes you're going to see some interesting information. SiteGround has some examples of SiteGround versus another provider. So that's obviously a popular or what Google would consider to be an important related phrase. So I always give these a glance just to see if there's anything of value. For me with GoDaddy, my takeaway is website builder. So I would want to note that as a potential keyword that we would want to review as potentially targeting in our own process. And then again, what I see up here within the site links, so like web hosting, SSL certificate, WordPress hosting, all of those, if I was building a seed list, would be added into the mix, and I would want to include those as potential search terms moving forward. So just to recap, the things that I like to look at within the Google index is the number of pieces of content that are displayed for a given URL, any type of site links that they have available when you search for the name, any related searches at the bottom, and then if there's any information that draws my eye over here on the right that Google's presenting for the company itself, I just take note of those as well. Maybe it's competitors that I wasn't thinking that I should be reviewing, or additional information like social profiles. So that's it. Not a ton here. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you can get a lot of really good information for a given competitor just by using the Google index, which is a completely free tool.